Do it, lady. Do it, lady.
Do it?
Yeah, do it, lady.
Do what?
It. Everything. All at once. Do it, lady.
And welcome back to another episode of Crips and Corks. I'm your host, DJ, here with my co-host,
Paul, as usual.
I never realized how, NPR our intro sounds until I just did it.
That one was very NPR. It's usually not that NPR.
Yeah, because normally we're laughing at the cold open.
Yeah, but I don't feel like you fully understand the do it lady.
I don't. It's one of the... Is it from TikTok?
It is.
It's one of those... See, I know a lot of stupid TikTok fads that you don't know, and I think this is one that you know that I don't.
Yeah, you never bring up the TikTok fads you know, though. I feel like I'm always, indoctrinating you.
No, I do it all the time. What was it? That was rude. That was pretty fucking rude.
Well, I did know about that one.
Oh, because I did that to you a couple times, and you were like, what are you saying? And I said... It's a TikTok sound. It's from Death Becomes Her, and you're like, I don't know her.
Well, I eventually learned about her.
Oh, okay.
I like this outfit. It's like you're going to a beach wedding, and that, honestly, a beach wedding is ideal for me, so
Thank
I'm
you.
living. It's nice.
I was a good little Catholic, and it's a Sunday. I went to church this morning.
Iconic. Legendary.
So, I came straight from... Well, not straight from church. I stopped for coffee, and I had to pick up wine for later, so...
Nice.
But nearly straight from church.
Shout out to the Catholics.
Yes, because I tell spooky stories for a living, and then I go to Catholic church on Sundays.
Hey, versatility is key to a healthy prostate. And my grandma always said that.
I love this top. I've always loved this top.
Thank you.
One day, if it goes missing, don't look in my closet.
Thank you. I don't know why you'd put me in your closet, but...
No, the shirt.
Okay.
I
I
was
thought you were talking
alluding...
about me.
No, I was alluding... I mean... There's no shoving you back in the closet. I mean,
Right.
I don't think you were ever contained in a closet.
At this point, I very much was not. Very much, yeah.
The only closet you could be... that could contain your faggotry would be that huge, from The Princess Diaries 2, that closet, where it was a whole mall.
Or Hannah Montana's huge closet.
Yes, exactly that.
No, and y'all already know, I was one of those gay kids that everyone knew they're gay before they came out and came out in high school. And I feel like we were both that.
I mean, I came out when I was 15, so...
Yeah, same. High school.
Okay, yeah, I came out. But I can... but it's surprising because you were a little... more flaming, shall I say, in high school than I was. You carried a purse.
I did have a purse senior year of high school. I did carry a purse.
Wasn't it a fake designer that you got in New York?
It was. It was a fake designer, Michael Kors.
Nice. Didn't you have a scarf phase?
I did have a scarf. There was a point in time when I owned every scarf from American Eagle.
And I believe there was hats.
Hats. Well, they didn't really let you wear hats in school, but...
Okay. I didn't know if you were a fedora kid.
Oh, no. I wasn't fucking with the fedoras. No, you couldn't clock me in a fedora, but I was definitely messing with the scarves and all that stuff.
I did experiment with fedoras right after I graduated high school.
Oh, God, DJ. Some lore you just keep to yourself.
I mean, I thought we were sharing embarrassing stories here.
I haven't said anything embarrassing yet. Besides the purse.
Yeah, the fake designer. If you're going to buy a fake, buy, a fake that you can never afford, like a Louis Vuitton.
Right. Okay, we do gotta move along. Blessing,
Yes.
curse. Paul, what's your blessing and curse? Thank you, Paul.
You could have just asked me.
So, blessing, 4th of July and the fireworks. Well, no, it's a curse because I don't like the loud noises, but the blessing part of that is all the dog TikToks of, how they're drugging dogs who are scared of the fireworks, and the whole meme of after mom gives me the special cheese on the 4th of July and it's all the dogs passing out. It's so funny.
Need special cheese for 4th of July. Because same, my blessing is 4th of July, got to spend it with friends. We had a cookout. Everyone loved my pasta salad. Paul and I both made hamburgers and hot dogs. We shared the
did.
responsibility.
We did.
Curse, I was in an active shooter situation once. And so now fireworks really freak me out. So I need the special cheese. Paul, I think next year.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting, like, I didn't realize how anxious you were about that until yesterday, and I was like, oh, this is serious.
It's the the crackly ones I'm fine with. It's the ones that
sound like gunshots.
that sound like gunshots. And even like last night, I was like sitting in my house doing research and somebody was shooting off fireworks, but it was the bang, bang, bang that sounds like a shotgun. And definitely ducked and covered underneath my desk for a good 10 minutes.
Well, I'm glad you made it out all right. And
Rose had to coax me out with a cookie.
We'll work on getting you the special cheese so you can just pass out on the 4th of July.
Sounds good.
Oh my gosh. So, speaking of passing out, let's talk about Paul's Pop Culture Corner.
Please.
I don't know what passing out had to do with it. It just sounded right. So, there's a new cult popping up in England.
A cult?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. So, Abdullah Hashim, he is the leader of this cult.
Okay.
And apparently there's something in Islamic lore where the Messiah is supposed to come and, like, save everyone, right?
Yes.
And it's, like, during the doom days, right? So, basically, he's brainwashing people. Like, COVID was the start of it all, and it's gonna get worse. And you have to bow down to me to, like,
Because
save
he's
yourself.
the Messiah?
Yeah, exactly. And
these stupid messianic cults.
when you join the cult, you have to pledge supreme allegiance to him. You have to give him all of your money and supreme allegiance. Yeah, basically everything you would think of a cult. And he, like, his signature look is he wears a beanie that covers his entire forehead. He pulls the beanie all the way down to his eyebrow to create a shadow over his eyes to make him look more intimidating. I assume he's probably just bald. But it really caught on in his cult.
I want to know what crazy thing he says. Like, I have a third eye that will shoot laser beams at you.
Exactly.
Like Jim Jones and his sunglasses. He was just on drugs.
Now, the cult is called the Ahmadi Religion of Peace and Light. But,
I love these cults where it's like Jim Jones, the People's Temple, Apocalypse.
Right, exactly. It's like the least threatening name with the most threatening people.
But that's why they do it, because they want to attract people. And once you get in, that's when they're like, that does die.
Exactly. And apparently they have multiple YouTube accounts in like 7 different languages, and they're like blasting their propaganda all over the internet, and that's how they're getting more followers. And it's crazy. You guys should look into it. It's insane that we're still dealing with Jim Jones like cults.
They
today.
never went away, and we talked about this a little bit on Jim Jones, where Jim Jones was not the first and was not the last. It just brought it to prominence.
Right. I don't know. It's so interesting because, like, how you said it brought it to prominence, but people are still getting caught up in it. Like, how is this still happening? What are we doing?
People are stupid. People look for community and being welcomed. I mean, I was in a cult for about 2 years, year and a half, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking about it this morning. It was like, yeah, like you kind of get wrapped up in the welcoming and the community. And luckily I was smart enough that when it started to deviate into darker waters, I was able to just rip myself out of there.
Right. But that's because we have brains. And,
yeah.
like, also, I don't know. Some people, I imagine when you give them all of your money and things, it's a little harder to get out and a little harder to, like, admit you were wrong. Like, let's say you were in the cult for years and years and years, and then you basically have to admit the 10 past years of your life was a waste and you were wrong for 10
and
years.
if you are married to somebody, I mean, we saw that a lot in Jonestown. People were married and they wanted to break off, but their spouse and their kids wanted to stay, or their spouse wanted to stay and was like, I'm keeping the kids in this cult.
Yeah, it's crazy. So just watch out there, guys. The cults are still out there. Watch out for these peace and love folks.
I mean, I think we used to make a joke that we were a cult.
Oh, we probably have, yeah.
We did. For a while there, that was part of our extra. It was like, join our cult. Like, subscribe, follow. We should actually bring that back. That was funny. But I'm pretty sure all of you are here because you're smart enough to not get involved in a cult.
Yes, and if you think that you're in a cult, email us and we'll let you know.
Yeah.
We'll do some research for you and we'll let you know.
We'll Leo Ryan it and we'll infiltrate.
Exactly.
Hopefully with better end results.
Exactly.
Oh.
Anything to add to Pop Culture Corner today?
No,
All
that was a
right.
good one.
Thank you. So we're going to get into today's paranormal pairing. So this is an Italian wine. It's the Candina Sacchagini of Il Vino del something, and then Pinot Grigio 2023.
Did you want me to read it since I speak Italian?
Sure.
Cantina Zaccagnini, il vino da Telsetto, Pinot Grigio.
You know, I'm going to have you translate my Chef Boyardee cans sometimes.
Absolutely.
And I like this bottle of wine because it has a little stick on it. I'm not
Yeah,
sure why
I'm
there's
not
a
sure.
little stick.
When you had me pull it out of the refrigerator, I thought for a second, is that a stick or is it like a piece of cinnamon, like a whole cinnamon stick?
No, that's not cinnamon.
It's
That's
a
just a stick. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. It is twist top. Oops, sorry. Sorry if that spilled on.
Yeah, a little
Sorry
bit.
that it spilled on you.
Nope, it didn't get on me. It just hit my phone. Okay.
Oh, and there's nothing on the back. There's no description or anything on the back in case anyone was wondering.
We know Pinot Grigio.
All right. Cheers. That's so interesting. That's very refreshing.
Mm-hmm. That's a good summer wine.
This is very nice. Very, very nice. And for the price point, it was $20. So for the price point, it's a good wine.
So
It's
after we're
interesting.
done, we're going to go sit on your front stoop and drink this, right?
Very that. That's so good.
Yeah.
It's like the right amount of sweet and the right amount of dry.
I don't do this a lot. I'm going to give it 5 grapes.
I'm going to give this one 5 grapes too. This one, highly recommend. Definitely for the price point. Very much worth it.
How much was it, if I might ask?
20.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Right, exactly. For the and I guess it is screw top, so for a screw top wine, it's really good.
Okay. I noticed that in the liquor store, far more whites come as a screw top.
Maybe that's just a thing.
And do you know what I thought? I thought probably because there's so many like middle-aged white ladies who like are alcoholics who only drink white wine. That
that's gonna be us.
that manufacturers don't trust them with corkscrews, so they just make them all screw tops.
Right. Is it Parkinson's or withdrawal? Who knows?
Oh Jesus!
Okay, DJ, do you have anything to add to the
No,
alcohol?
no, go for it.
All right, DJ. Let me tell you a story. When the ghost hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's Poveglia. When the bones seem to shine like you had too much wine, that's Poveglia. The bell will ring, ting-a-ling-a-ling, ting-a-ling-a-ling, even though there is none. The ghost girl will play tippy-tippy-tay, tippy-tippy-tay. Oh, Poveglia. Mamma mia, that's a haunted island. That's right. Today we are covering perhaps the most haunted island in Italy, Poveglia Island, one that will definitely leave you wishing you had stayed on the mainland. Now, I do know some people... Thank you. I'll bow.
I every time you convert a song into an intro, I forget just how talented you are. Not at singing, but at corrupting perfectly good music
And just
hilariously.
corrupting perfectly good things in general, really. Like, yeah, it's just a talent. Now, I will say, I do know some people call it Poveglia Island, but I was watching Ghost Adventures, which we'll get into later, and the locals and everyone were calling it Poveglia Island.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Yeah. So, Poveglia, I'm going to say...
Poveglia, yeah.
I think Poveglia sounds prettier.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say Poveglia Island.
Poveglia Island.
Now, I know you know a lot about Poveglia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah, I think I caught it once.
Oh, and the pill cleared it right up.
No, that was one of the ones where you have to get the big needle.
Oh. Jesus. Well,
Just kidding.
feel free to fact check me at any point during this, okay? Which
it's been a long time. I know because hearing it on other podcasts, the Ghost Adventures episode.
Mm-hmm. One of their more famous episodes, actually.
Yeah, because... Okay, you're going to have to refresh my... So get right on into it.
All right. So Poveglia is a small island located between Vin Diesel's Nice and Libido in the veterinarian lagoon of northern Italy. And a small canal divides the island into two separate parts.
Was that a joke?
Yeah.
Okay. I was waiting for the punchline where you were like, wait, I misread that. And then you just kept going and I went, oh my god, is he for real?
No, I just wanted to see if you... Well, I knew you'd catch it. I was just waiting for you to say something.
This was a test to see if I was going to let you look like a dumbass on the internet.
Have you ever been to Vin Diesel's Nice? Otherwise known as Venice? Or Lido, otherwise known as Libido?
Is it Lido or is it Lido? No,
Lido?
It is Lido.
Lido.
You're right.
However you want to say it. But a canal divides the island into two separate parts, and there is a third man-made part, okay? Now...
In Venice?
No.
Or Poveglia?
Poveglia Island.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to show you a picture eventually, don't worry. Now, the third part of the island resembles the building of Venice, where layers of earth and wooden pillars were made to make the third little island of Poveglia. So the third part is man-made, okay? Now, of the three parts of the island, one is still all vegetation, and I'm going to just bring up the map for you now. Okay. So, that part right there. Okay. So, this big part right there, and I'll put this on the screen. That big part right there, that's all vegetation right now, and as we'll get into it later, but you can see on the map that's where the burning grounds were, and I'll get into what that means later.
And is that like the part that was reclaimed, or like built, or is it... Well,
actually this middle part is where it was reclaimed, and we'll get into how they reclaimed it a little later. Okay. And the first part there is actually a man-made part, and they used it as a fort to protect the island.
Wait, which part?
This part.
That's what I meant by reclaimed, like reclaimed from the sea. But yes, okay. I see.
Now, the island first became inhabited in the 7th century, and there was a small community built on the island. Now, it is important to note that the first mention of the island was in documents in 421 AD, but this is, the 7th century is just when it became inhabited. People knew about the island before it became inhabited, so I wanted to note, like, when people first started talking about it.
So in the 7th century, so that was the 800s? Yes?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, but they knew about the island, they just weren't too interested in it until the 7th century. Now, people would live on the island to avoid invasions happening on the mainland.
Makes sense.
Yep. Also,
the Huns, the Mongols...
I don't think that's correct.
Yeah.
Did they actually invade Italy? They made it that far?
The Roman Empire, yeah.
Interesting. I have a completely different invasion that I'm going to get into. But one interesting fact is because the people living on the island actually got to avoid paying taxes because they weren't on the mainland.
I wish it was like that today because then I would move to Hawaii.
Very that. Now, the inhabitants would trade with nearby Palestrina, but mostly avoided the Italian peninsula because they're racist. Now, this all worked out well until the 14th century when the War of Chioggia happened, which was an extended conflict between the maritime republics of Genoa and Venice that led to the abandonment of the island, and its inhabitants would just relocate to Venice. So,
okay, makes sense.
Yes. And it wasn't until the 18th century when the island would be used again as storage for Venice, like they would just keep shit there.
Yeah,
Yes. Now, this is where the island's dark history really begins.
Ooh.
Spooky. Now, in 1776, the island became under control of the local public health office.
Wait, what year?
1776.
1776.
New
Alexander.
York. Oh, yes. Sorry. I was going to sing the actual song, but
okay.
You go ahead. You do your bit.
Alexander Hamilton.
Alexander Hamilton, we are waiting in the wings for you. Boom. Theater kids, get into... I'm not a theater kid. He is. I'm
Angelica.
Eliza.
And Peggy.
The Schuyler sisters. Angelica, Peggy, Eliza, work.
No, it's always Angelica, Eliza, and Peggy.
Work.
Yes.
Do it, lady!
Eliza and Peggy. Do it, lady!
Now, like I said, the island became under control of the local public health office, serving as kind of a customs control place.
Oh.
Ships would stop there and be checked for disease and other things.
Yeah.
Because one thing I actually learned that I didn't know about Venice is multiple plagues, not just the one we're going to end up talking about, passed through Venice and Italy and
Yeah,
Europe.
because it was a big trading port.
Right, exactly. So it was kind of like their customs. And, like, actually...
It was like Ellis Island, but for Venice.
Exactly. And actually, in 1793, a ship arrived carrying salted cheese from Greece. Now, crew members were sick with the plague, and 4 sailors and 8 harbor workers would die from the plague on the island. And this began the plague's ravishing of Venice, and the island being used as a quarantine place. Because not only at this point would they quarantine, like before this they would quarantine the goods, whatever, but then they would also start using it as a quarantine place for people after this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Now, just people who were coming in on ships, or like if you lived in Venice and you got it, would they like ship you over to Poveglia?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Which, I mean, hot take, it's more humane to what they did with the Black Plague, which was if one person got sick in a house, they would barricade the front door so nobody could escape, and they would wait till you're all dead, and then they would go remove your bodies.
See, that's crazy. That's spooky. That would be such a horrifying time to be alive. I can't even imagine.
Also, could you imagine if, like, so, like, my second question is, would you consider COVID a plague?
I would consider it.
It's like a plague.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
like
was
a
very
plague.
much like a plague. Like, if you look, like, at history, what plagues were like. And I wonder if, like, in 200-300 years, if it will be considered, like, a plague and it will have a fun name.
The modern day plague.
The Corona Plague.
The Corona plague. Or me after a couple Corona
Coronas,
beers.
yes.
That's the real plague.
But, like, me and my grandmother, like, there were, like, so many times my grandfather got it, we were living with him, didn't get it. There were multiple times, you got it, what, twice?
Yeah, I've had it 2 or 3 times.
And I was around you, like, in the early stages before you knew, both times, never got it. So,
Right.
like, that would be horrifying, like, if I, like...
You're just immune to it.
Like, my grandfather, like, got it, so, like, they barricaded me, and I'm just like, okay, I'm still alive.
Please let me
Let me out. I'm fine.
Now, what's interesting, though, is Venice actually had 2 other islands other than Poveglia that were used to quarantine as well for the plague. But they became full, so they would had to start taking people from those islands and put them on Poveglia as
Oh,
well.
it's never good when the island gets full.
Exactly. Now, this brings us to one of the most well-known aspects of the plague in Venice, the plague doctor.
Oh, yes. Wait.
Exactly, yes.
My babushka plague doctor.
Exactly. We all know the iconic beak mask and everything. And these plague doctors were actually the people who would escort the people from Venice to the island. And these, to this day, as you know, like, these doctors are a symbol of death to this day, because you know, once you saw the plague doctor and he took you away, ultimately you were most likely going to die.
Now, do you talk about it in there, why the mask looked like that?
Yeah, because they put herbs in the beak, right?
Yeah.
And the herbs were used to purify the air around them and also helped with the smell because so many death and dying people. So not only...
Yes, because, I mean, this is probably like the bubonic plague, right?
Yeah.
So, the bubonic plague is really noted by the pustules, which is... When those pop, that's gross.
Right. And that's how it spreads, too, when they pop.
Yeah.
Like, you get that bus on you and stuff.
And also, okay, it's like, we think about it as being, like, really backwards. But look at it this way. You have a mask
Yes.
covering your face. They would also wear long cloaks covering as much skin, and their clothing, they'd wear leather gloves to protect their hands. And the cloak would have a hood, so nothing got in their hair.
Right. So, like, it looks scary, but it was protecting them.
It was protective, and it's very much like modern day doctors wear masks. They wear surgical gowns.
Right.
They wear gloves, and they wear caps in the operating room.
Exactly. That's a good parallel to draw. Maybe one day in the future, like, how our surgical people look or, like, how our doctors look will, like, be the same, like, iconic dress as the plague doctor.
Well, maybe not quite so iconic, but sort of like, oh, that's so stupid that they wore that.
Right, right. No, I do really quick want to note that it is really interesting how they use the herbs, like, to not only, like, protect them, but also for the smell. I think that's interesting. That's one of my favorite facts so far.
And I think it was, they didn't understand that the illness was airborne. Well, I don't think bubonic plague is airborne.
I'm not too sure.
Um,
Fact check us in the comments.
But I'm pretty sure they thought it was, like, from the smell. Like, you caught disease through smell.
Okay, yeah, because they didn't have, like, that big a science at the time.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't that advanced, so catching it through smell, like, makes sense a little bit, I guess.
Holy Paul, you have caught the pox. Thou must have sinned greatly against God, and he has struck you down.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Actually, I just wrote Brother Jebediah, and I didn't realize he had the pox.
Whoops. Sorry, Dad. Now, Poveglia would see over 100,000 deaths on the island from the plague.
Jesus.
Yeah, and they would throw the bodies into what they called plague pits. Or remember how they were talking about the burning pits? They would burn the bodies, throw them in the plague pits, all sorts of things. And now it is said to this day that the dirt on the island is made of 50% human ashes and 50% regular dirt. There's so many bodies there, which is kind of crazy to think about.
You're just walking through human remains.
Now, one thing I do want to note, the number of deaths that actually have happened on the island, because you'll hear people say there was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of deaths. It's probably closer to just 100,000 deaths. People really like to inflate the death count that actually happened on the island, but it's not hundreds and hundreds of thousands.
But still, for the size of the island, and the fact that, like, there was some death on there. Sorry, I do have Do Not Disturb on.
You're fine.
But the fact that, like, 1776, so that's about 250 years ago.
Right.
So in 250 years, 100,000 deaths, when there's no permanent structure or community there, that's insane.
It is crazy. It's basically just a death island, and that's why so many people went there against their will, too, because no one wanted to go to the island because they knew they were
it's a death sentence.
Right, exactly.
It's kind of like there's old tuberculosis hospitals here in America where you didn't want to get sent there because even if the disease didn't kill you, you weren't leaving alive.
Exactly.
They were just going to leave you there.
I feel like there's a lot of places like that we could draw that parallel to. That's just like a place of death. You know, once you go there, you're not leaving.
Yeah, nobody took care of you.
Like, there's prisons like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. One interesting fact is when they rediscovered the burn pits and whatever, because the island went abandoned, and then they rediscovered the burning pits, the plague pits. And when they were rediscovered, some skulls actually had large rocks clamped into their jaws. Now, what was happening was decomposition gases were blowing up the corpses' internal organs, causing blood to come out of their mouth. And the people at the time equated that with vampirism.
Okay.
So they would shove those big rocks and clamp them into the jaws to prevent them from feeding on the other corpses.
Okay.
Because, like we said, like, the science wasn't up to par at the time, so they didn't understand, like, the blood was coming from their internal organs exploding from all the decomposition gases. So I thought that vampire lore was a very interesting part of this story that no one really talks about, because all you hear about is the plague doctors and the death. No one really talks about the other paranormal.
The vampires.
Right, exactly. And that's like a big thing in Europe just in general, is like the vampire fear and whatnot.
The Voltari.
Not the Twilight.
Bella.
Let me watch you and Edward Bella.
You know what's really disgusting?
What?
So Stephanie Meyer finally released Midnight Sun, which is the first Twilight book, but told from Edward's point of view.
Yes.
And Edward talks about, like, being the only single one in the house, and how, because they have supersonic hearing, like, there's no privacy.
Right.
But he, like, describes, like, everyone in the house fucking, and it just sounds like marble rubbing up against marble.
It sounds like sandpaper rubbing against each other.
It's just...
That's so funny. That's crazy.
Could you... First of all, supersonic air, you can't sleep and just, like, how do I escape?
Mommy and Daddy are gonna go play marbles again. Cover your ears, Edward. It's fine. They weren't actually, like, his parents, which if you've watched Twilight, you know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the plague, the island didn't become inhabited again until 1922, when a psychiatric hospital was built on the island. It was built on the middle part of the island, not the burning pit part. It was built on, like, the middle part of the island. Now, during its operation, the director of the island, Dr. Paolo, would do horrible things to its patients. But not as bad as what he did to Hilary Duff in the Lizzie McGuire movie. Sing to me, Paolo. Never forget.
Alex, what's her name? Alex Borstein?
Bitch, what are you talking about?
Alex Borstein, who played Miss Niedermeyer, the chaperone.
Oh, yeah, okay.
She recently just went back to Rome, like, on vacation. And she did a whole post and it went viral. Because she was like, Miss Niedermeyer finally made it back and she has none of the kids with her.
She's having the best time of her life. She said, fuck them kids. Running away.
Iconic.
She probably got in so much trouble when they saw Lizzie McGuire on that goddamn stage. She's like, you lost the kid for 3 days?
Truly.
The way, if that happened in real life, she would probably lose her job. Like, you have someone else's kid in a foreign country and she's just running all over the place with God knows who. Paulo? Bitch, what are we doing?
Paolo.
You're letting her get groomed by Paulo?
Is it grooming if they're the same age?
Were they the same age? I'm not sure.
I think that was kind of the setup.
Interesting. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was like 16, 17. He could, like, drive a moped and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or maybe 18, 19. Oh, well.
Oh, well. What can you do? Now, let's get a little bit back to what was going on with some of these things in this asylum. Now, it is said that this evil scientist, or the director, he would perform horrible experiments on the patients and even do lobotomies on them. Everyone's obsessed with lobotomies, for God knows why. It is said that eventually the director lost his mind and threw himself off the clock tower, driven mad by the ghosts of the people he tortured.
No, do not put so much cheese on the spaghetti.
Sing to me, Paolo. I can't sing after the lobotomy.
No, why won't the marinara stick to the spaghetti? That's what the ghosts are torturing with visions of. Marinara not sticking to his pasta.
They're just sending him visions of Chef Boyardee cans.
No, not the shitty American version of our national foods.
Why, Paolo? Porque? I don't know Spanish or Italian.
Porque is Spanish. Why do the Americans, they drink the water, but they say there's coffee?
Oh, jeez. But the asylum would eventually close in 1968, and no one has inhabited the island ever since.
Ooh.
Well, of course, except for the ghosts.
Ooh.
Fishermen say they can hear screams and moans from the island.
It's just me getting railed.
Exactly. They shouldn't have put that BDSM club on the goddamn island if they didn't want to hear all the moans. No, but for real. And they say they can even hear the bell being rung from the bell tower, even though the bell was removed from the island long ago.
And isn't the bell tower where
he committed suicide?
Yeah.
Yep, it said that the director committed suicide. Now, there is a ghost called Little Maria, who has been seen on the island for over 400 years.
Oh, no.
She is said to be the ghost of a little girl who died during the plague. Most sightings of her are at the beach, emitting heartbreaking wails. Mamma Mia! Mamma Mia! And that actually inspired Mario Kart. So you're welcome.
Sounds like a bird.
Thank you. And there's also Pietro, a resident of the asylum with 2 amputated legs who used to race through the hospital on his wheelchair.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Stubbs.
No. It said you can still hear his wheelchair to this day. Also in the asylum is a spirit of a young girl with a terrified expression on her face. People claim she is still running from the mad scientists who performed experiments on her. People will also see faces behind the windows of the asylum and shadow figures. People who have visited the asylum say there is a shadow figure that appears to follow you throughout your entire stay at the asylum.
That reminds me of the creeper from Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
Oh, it is kind of giving that. Yeah, that's iconic. Not iconic, but creepy. No. Visitors of the island report feeling sorrow and despair as soon as they step foot on the island. Some even report seeing a pair of huge eyes in the water surrounding the island. And what's interesting about the water surrounding the island is they actually used to perform capital execution in the waters around the island. So they would execute people and throw them in the waters around the island.
How would they execute them? Hanging, guillotine,
I imagine they just
firing
shoot them.
squad.
I imagine they just shoot them and throw them in the water. Didn't get that deep into it. I apologize.
It's okay.
I'll do better next time.
It's fine. I was just hoping to get off to that.
You needed some beat off material for later.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, do you dare want to be one of those visitors of the island?
Actually, yeah. I kind of want to walk around. Like, I don't think I would want to be there overnight, but...
Well, too bad, because you will have to apply for the opportunity, and sometimes it takes years to get approval.
How much does it cost?
Not sure. And once you're there, if you want to go into the asylum, the easiest way to get in is actually through one of the cremators or the incinerators.
Hate that.
Isn't that spooky?
I hate that.
Because it is a very rundown building. So, like, that's really the only way to get in. And if you go and visit, they very much encourage you not to go in. Now, one interesting thing, too, is they did try, like, they started some construction projects to try and rebuild, like, some of the buildings in the asylum and different things on the island.
Turn it into, like, a museum.
Something like that. But the workers all of a sudden just stopped working. They got spooked by something and just stopped. Yep. And halted construction on the island.
I'm going to say something, and it's not racist because I am Italian, but the coffee was just probably shitty. So they were like, nah.
Meh. Who cares? No. I mean, a lot of the locals do think it's cursed. Like, a lot of the locals are very scared of this island. And we can start talking about the Ghost Adventures episode now because at the beginning of the Ghost Adventures episode, Zach and the crew, they were walking around Venice trying to, like, get people
because
to
this
talk.
was back when it was an actual Travel Channel show.
Yeah.
In the whole first act, it's a 3-act basically thing, and the entire first act is the guys walking around the town where the thing is, talking to the locals, sampling the culture, like...
Exactly. And they tried to get people to talk to them, but no one would talk to them. And they said on the episode that it's because it's cursed and all the locals are scared of them. But I also do think it could be like the locals just don't want to fuck with Americans, especially when you walk up and be like, Poveglia is like the first 3 words out of your mouth. They're like, oh, not this again. It'd be kind of like if you go to somewhere like...
And also, we know Zach Bagans says, hey, you, can I talk to you? Do you want to be on my TV show?
Exactly.
Poveglia Island.
He comes in very hot, and that probably very much
And here's the thing about
European...
Everyone talks about, like, Europeans being rude and standoffish, especially in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
I never experienced people being rude to me in Paris. What you have to do is you have to treat them with respect. So, in the case of Italy, buongiorno, signor. Do you speak English?
Right.
See? Can I ask you a few questions, please, for my TV show?
Not. Hey, guys!
Yeah.
You know this fucking haunted place?
Yeah, and so...
Which he most likely did. Now, honestly, this Ghosted Adventure, and usually I'll do step-by-step, play-by-play of the Ghosted Adventures episode, but there's really nothing too noteworthy. At the end, he said he got possessed, and he started, like, punching the walls and did his thing. I think
it's just badly contained anger issues.
Mm-hmm. Now, I do think ghosts can play on your emotions and stuff, but I don't know. I guess if he was possessed, he was possessed, but if not...
I think he tries to make good TV, and that's what he gets paid for.
Exactly. I think one of the most interesting things about the episode for me was when they were like out in the burning pit part of the island, and there's a bridge that connects, because remember there's a canal. So there's a bridge that connects it, and Zach is in the field and Aaron is on the stage, and they have like equipment set up on stands and everything. And all of a sudden the grass starts moving like someone's running, and then you hear like the footsteps running up the bridge towards their equipment and knocks the equipment over.
Oh my god.
So that was pretty crazy.
That's neat.
If they were able to like, if that is legit, like, it's really cool because you can literally see the grass because it's all overgrown stuff. So it's very easy to see something running through it. So you can see the grass and like something running through it, and then you hear the footsteps going
on
up
the
bridge,
and you can see it's not like a small animal or anything.
Exactly.
That is cool. But I think we all know that I don't have a lot of respect for Zach Bagans.
Yeah, it's hard to trust. It very much is hard to trust.
I think he real talk. I think he fakes a lot of what he puts out on his show.
He might.
But also, even if he doesn't, I don't appreciate how he approaches investigations, which is let me go in here and antagonize and agitate. Especially because he does it, he's like, I'm going to antagonize and agitate to get something, and then I'm just going to leave.
Right.
Which, first of all, ghosts can follow you. Second of all, the poor people who like have to go there on a day-to-day basis, and like we have to respect these spiritual beings, because just because somebody's dead doesn't mean they're not still a person. And
we've said it many times before. Are you done?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm climbing off my soapbox.
Another piece of interesting evidence they did catch, in one of the chapels in the asylum part, they caught this really interesting black shadow figure.
Ooh.
It was like this black mist. It was really interesting. I definitely recommend watching the episode so you know exactly what I'm talking about, because it was a really cool shadow figure if it's real.
You probably already watched it for this, so you don't want to watch it again, but I kind of want to watch it after this.
Yeah, no, I already saw it. I'm so sorry. I don't think I can watch it again. It was kind of hard watching it the first time because it's like an hour long. So.
Oh, it's one of his specials.
Yeah. Because they had to get special permission from the government to go there. You know.
I think. Are you?
We're towards the end. Yes.
Okay, I'll wait till you're done because this isn't like about what you just said. This is just like a general thought.
Actually, we are done.
Okay.
The last thing I wanted to talk about was the ghost investigation of the island. That's the haunting of Poveglia Island.
Fantastic episode.
Thanks.
I love this. I think we should, if it takes years, let's just fill out the application.
Hey, why not? Hey, if they accept our application, we're going, bitch. I'm going to Venice.
Worst thing that happens is we never hear back, or that they come back and they say, like, okay, it's $5,000 a night.
Right, and I'll pay it. Like, I've always wanted to go to Italy, so I'll go.
I mean, we can't pay it right now. We might have to.
It'd be really cool to see Vin Diesel's niece.
Yeah.
I just think that would really help me emotionally.
I mean, I think it'd be cool, like, if we flew over and spent, like, 3 days in Venice, and, like, we're able to, like, investigate and then, like, come home.
Right. That would be so fucking cool. So, coming soon.
Hopefully.
The story of Poveglia Island is not over yet.
I think if we do that, I think we're going to have to, like, start assembling a film crew.
Yeah.
Just, I love trading off being videographer.
But it'd be nice to have someone, like, film us when we're...
Film us so that we could actually be on screen at the same time without my arm being in it.
Right. No, we're gonna have to get on that.
Yeah.
No, we'll have to get on that. But I do have one final question for you.
Okay.
Smash or pass? Zach Bagans and the Witch Doctor, Plague Doctor mask. He does a really intense scene in that episode where he has the mask on and he's in the boat to the island.
Okay, I know I don't respect him, but you don't have to respect someone to smash them. But
sometimes it's better not to.
Exactly. But I'm going to pass because I feel like he already does really weird dramatic stuff, and in the mask it's not going to be sexy. So I am going to pass, but if he wasn't wearing the Plague Doctor mask, I would smash.
I think I'm going to smash even with the Plague Doctor mask. And what's interesting...
I'm afraid of getting my eye poked out.
Oh, I'm fine with that. He can face the other way. I don't need to see his face. He can put the beacon facing the other way. It'll be fine.
We also play different positions in baseball.
Yes, we are playing for different positions and teams and leagues.
No, we play for the same team. We just play different positions.
Yeah, very that. But like I said, I feel like our story and our coverage of
Yes.
Poveglia is not over yet, and this is just the beginning.
Yeah, I would love to do like a revisit later on, maybe for a live show one day.
Oh, that would be really cool. This is a really neat island, and I love Italy.
And like to be able, because with live shows because we're both doing research, we're able to go a little more in depth.
Mm-hmm.
And also live shows are a different format, which be sure like come to a live show, stream it, do something.
There'll be live shows soon, eventually. Eventually.
Oh, that was a really good episode, Paul. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you, and I hope that's just not the wine talking.
No, it was really good.
Thank you.
We hope you all enjoyed. Please be sure to let us know what you think. You can text us if you're listening to this audibly, or you can always DM us on any of our socials, which are listed below, or you can email us if you have had any experiences with Poveglia or any other haunted locale.
Mm-hmm.
Please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow wherever you're listening, and join our cult.
Join the cult.
Paul, where can they find you?
You can find me on my personal Instagram and TikTok at Paulember, Paulember. And as usual, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
DiGiorno. And if you'd like to follow me, please do so on TikTok and on Instagram at TheRealDeechPowers. And until next time, ciao, bella. Keep your crips tight.
And your corks loose.
Bye. Do it, lady.
Sing to me, Paulo.